people probably aren't really aware of the fact that I graduated from Butler High School. Some are, but a lot aren't. And I graduated in 1957, so I was there from 1953 to 1957, and obviously did not participate in any sports because girls weren't allowed to at the time. So when I went to college in Virginia, one of the things that I had to do when I first got there is explain why I wanted to major in physical education. And we had to tell what our high school program was like. So I said what I had done in high school, which was very limited to say the least. And they wanted to know why I wanted to major in physical education, have anything to do with sports. And because I had zero background. And but my interest in having a sports program really started at that. That was the beginning of it, because not having something that I thought I would like to do just motivated me to try to get it into the program. Well, when I came back to Butler in 1963, after I had taught in Virginia for a couple of years, and I had coached them there as well. I coached tennis and I coached basketball while I was teaching in Virginia. And when I came back to Butler, we still didn't have a program. That was in the late 60s. So by happenstance, 1968, the Olympics, the Mexico City Olympics took place, and of course they were televised. It was in this hemisphere, it was on time, et cetera, et cetera. And gymnastics became very, very popular. Kids really got interested in it. We were teaching it in our phys ed classes. So because of the interest, we started a gymnastics club. And we had boys and girls both in the club. And it was funny because I really think the boys came out because the girls started wearing leotards, which were unusual at the time, so there was a definite attraction there. But we had football players, varsity athletes, boys came out and they were doing cartwheels and handsprings, et cetera, and Ralph Raytheon got involved in it because he had been involved in gymnastics as a kid. And he got involved, and he got his friend Paul Bohr, who was his instructor, involved, and that's what really started the ball rolling. We started putting on a gym show, the old typical gym show, not a competition as some people will remember in other schools, but a gym show. And we did parachute routines and folk dancing, and we had lots and lots of kids. All kinds of kids could participate in it, and they didn't have to be athletes. But the feature of the show really was gymnastics. And we did all kinds of things on the uneven bars and tumbling, et cetera, and people loved it. We used to pack the gym. We absolutely packed the gym. And standing room only. Well, parents started to get involved, and it kind of like all of a sudden people thought, boy, wouldn't it be nice if we could compete with somebody, with the girls with gymnastics. And at that time we had some really good kids. We had Linda Chucholo and Randy Ricker and Rita Marion, Rita Grasso at that time, and her sisters. So we had really a good team. Sharon Washington a year or two later. So we decided to see if we could pursue it, talk to the school, and they just kind of like said, yeah, go ahead. So we did, and we found some meets, and we started going to meets, and we had to go all over the place. We got to go down to Edison. I mean, there were not exactly a lot of teams and a lot of schools around here who had gymnastics then. So we started competing, and we did pretty well. And Paul Bohr, who was involved with AAU, because the NJSIA was not involved with girls' sports that much at that point in time. So he suggested that we get involved in the AAU championships, which we did. And as a matter of fact, we hosted them. We ran the state championships in Butler. A lot of people don't even know that and aren't aware of it. And it was extremely successful, and we got a lot of support. So eventually we got recognized as a varsity sport in Butler High School, and then it didn't take me but 30 seconds to suggest that, that's not fair just to have gymnastics. Why shouldn't we have like field hockey, basketball, and softball, those three sports? So that followed. Then in addition to that, it wasn't long before all of a sudden we started getting uniforms and officials, etc., etc. And Ruth Kellett from Pequannock and I met with the athletic directors about establishing a conference for the girls and whatever. And they knew that times were changing. They knew that it had to be. You know, Title IX was coming into existence in a couple of years. New Jersey had Title VI, and we weren't pushing legal issues. We were just trying to get it involved. And they agreed on a very limited basis. We could play each other one time. Like, for example, in basketball, we played each school one time. Boys played twice. And we agreed there would be no championships and whatever, because my philosophy was just to get a foot in the door. Get a foot in the door, and then things will take care of itself. It would grow, which it did. So it wasn't within a year that we were playing a full schedule, same as the boys. We were getting real officials instead of somebody out of the athletic department in the school. We were getting carded officials. And then I started a Christmas tournament in Butler in basketball in the early 70s. And I started inviting powerhouse teams from all over the state, and it was really considered the best tournament in the state of New Jersey. So we had teams from Phillipsburg, and we had Patterson Eastside, and Nutley, and North Hunterdon Central. They were all state powerhouses at the time. And they came to Butler, and we had, we must have run like 5 nights where you were guaranteed 3 games. And it was $100 to get in the tournament, which now is nothing. At that time, it was like incredible that people would pay $100 to get in the tournament, but you were guaranteed 3 games, win or lose. So coaches liked that because they were playing quality competition. And even if they didn't win the tournament, they at least got their 3 games in over the Christmas holiday. And if you won the tournament, you were in pretty good shape for the rest of the season. So we went on from there, and things just kind of snowballed after that. And the other schools got involved, and some of them were already involved. Pequannock, Jefferson High School, Doris Oster had at Jefferson, Ruth Kellett, Pequannock were already involved. And some of the schools that weren't as involved were forced to become involved. And at that time, getting coaches was extremely difficult because there were no trained women coaches. And pay was not equal. You know, we were second-class citizens in that respect. But a lot of schools would hire what we used to call warm bodies. Just a new teacher came in. If you want the job, you have to coach this. Well, I don't know anything about that. Doesn't matter. You coach it. So it took a while, but everybody eventually caught up. It just grew and grew and grew. And it was fun watching it over the years to see how it changed and see how all the people changed and how the attitude of the schools changed and the attitude of the coaches changed. The transition going from no girls sports to having girls sports was not an easy one. Can't expect the guys that were coaching, the boys coaches, were not real thrilled about it because it meant sharing time, sharing facilities, money became an issue, and whatever. So it was a little difficult for a while, but I give Fred Ingold, Doc Ingold, a lot of credit in that respect because he got us together. He took the bull by the horns, and keep in mind, he coached for years too without girls sports. And by adding girls sports, it doubled his workload. But he took the bull by the horns and got it so it would work. And it was an incredible job that he did because it wasn't easy. You know, we had our moments where we had discussions, and you know, Doc being the way he is, I mean, his feeling of diplomacy was with Art Pasquale and I, when we're going to share practice time in the gym, he put us in a room and shut the door and said, "You work it out." Well, it was quite a discussion, to say the least, but we worked it out. He wasn't particularly happy about it, but I can understand because we were taking away from what he had, and I understood that, and I could deal with that.